Ayatollah Khamenei tweeted almost every day, "Death to Israel."
I want to see no nuclear weapon in Iran.
This is our continuous coverage of what's happening in West Asia between Iran and Israel, who are right now locked in an aerial warfare with diplomatic stalemate and tensions showing no signs of easing. Earlier, we spoke to Ruthie Bloom, former advisor at Office of Prime Minister Netanyahu, author, award-winning columnist. Let's listen into what she had to say about this.
I think it's very important to send the Ayatollahs and Khamenei in particular, to send them a clear message. And it doesn't mean that Israel is going to assassinate him. Maybe Israel will, I don't know. It's important that he realize. Now, when Trump said unconditional surrender, you see, I think that's what he meant by his negotiations that led up to this, okay? He was saying, yes, let's negotiate. You destroy your facilities, or someone else is going to have to do it for you. You capitulate, or we're going to force you. That's what those negotiations were, and that's why Iran did not agree to them, and Trump was losing patience. Having said that, when President Trump asked Netanyahu not to attack Iran while the negotiations were ongoing, Netanyahu agreed and did not launch an attack. But then the International Atomic Energy Agency came out with a report that Iran has enough enriched uranium to produce 9 nuclear bombs. Time was running out, and though America has its own interests and Israel respects those, Israel also has its own interests. And Iran has vowed to wipe Israel off the map for year in and year out. Meanwhile, Iran has said the same thing about the United States, that it's the great Satan and Israel is the small Satan. So what I think happened here is that President Trump said to Netanyahu, okay, you do what you have to do. I'm not joining you. But then in the coming days, he began to see that there may be no choice. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he will participate in any of these strikes in Iran. It could mean that he'll provide Israel with the bunker buster, the 30,000-pound bunker busters that are required to hit Fordo, and the B-2 bombers that are the only ones that can carry those heavy, heavy bombs. So we don't know yet. By the time you and I finish this broadcast, for all we know, there are going to be American planes in the air. We don't know. Every minute right now, as you see, something changes, and President Trump posts something new on Truth Social. Okay, so first of all, the war between Israel and Gaza, in other words, Hamas in Gaza, Hamas is an Iranian proxy, as are the Houthis in Yemen and militias in Iraq and Hezbollah in Lebanon. How I see this improving is the gloom and doom is immediate, right? War is terrible and people get killed, although I have to say the casualties have been very minimal since Israel launched this operation, mainly targeting military officials, though Iran has been targeting Israeli civilians. Even Israeli casualties have been low. And what I mean is the forecast is when you rid the world of this pernicious actor and its terrorist tentacles all over the globe, you have a chance for flourishing economies, including in Iran. That's what I meant about a forecast that's optimistic. As we saw, and what I meant by the Abraham Accords, why they were the direct result of Netanyahu's opposition to the Iran deal was that when he spoke to the joint session of Congress in 2015 and appealed to the Americans not to sign that deal, in the end they did. But after his speech, the representatives of the Gulf states came to him and they said, wow, you stood up to the president of the United States about Iran, and Iran is our worst enemy. And that began the path to the Abraham Accords, the peace accords that caused a lot of flourishing economics between Israel and the Gulf, tourism exchanges, agriculture, medical exchanges. It was beautiful. And then Saudi Arabia was on the verge of joining. And that's when Hamas launched its October 7th massacre to prevent peace, you see. So I believe that this kind of war is a war to end this pernicious force in the world, not to perpetuate.